All right, so meanwhile, U.S. officials say China is considering giving weapons to Russia to help aid Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. Although no weapons have been delivered yet, concern in Washington remains high. Former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice addressed that issue on Face the Nation yesterday.
It is really important that whoever runs for president of the United States understands the essence of this conflict. The fact that we are defending not just Ukrainian independence, but we're defending a rules-based system that says might doesn't make right. You can't just extinguish your neighbor. And oh, by the way, for those who would say, oh, we ought to be concentrating on the Indo-Pacific because China is really our adversary, Xi Jinping is telling you what he thinks about that, because he is not only watching what is going on in Ukraine, according to our intelligence, apparently, he's even considering getting in on the side of the Russians.
So Isaac Stonefish is here in Studio 57 with us with a little bit of analysis on this. He's a CBS News contributor and founder and CEO of Strategy Risks, a China-focused research firm. Thanks for joining us. What do you think of what Condoleezza Rice had to say?
I think China is already in on the side of the Russians, and we're drawing this line about lethal aid, and we're forgetting the roughly $200 billion of trade that China had with Russia last year.
What about trade with the United States?
Russia's trade with the United States is insignificant. China's trade with the United States is massive.
Right.
And
I meant China, sorry.
Oh, yes. And it does make it much more difficult for U.S. corporations and U.S. corporate interests to push back against China because of the deep entwining of our two economies, even after what was supposed to be a period of decoupling.
So what's in it for China? I mean, wouldn't it make more sense to sort of sit back and let the West do what the West is going to do? So that, because obviously, and this is the point I think some are making, you know, while our attention is focused on what's happening in Ukraine, perhaps China can see opportunities in the Indo-Pacific region that the United States is not paying attention. They might think, of course, we know that our presence is incredibly robust in that part of the world, not only in Japan and in South Korea, but even in Taiwan. But still, why not just sort of sit back and let the two go at it without getting involved?
I think that's exactly right. And that's what Beijing wants the world to think it's doing. It wants people to think that it's sitting on the sideline, that it wants peace, that it's promoting a peace plan, while at the same time it is very much on the side of Russia because it's in Beijing's interests for Russia to enmesh the West in a war in the West so that it frees up Beijing to, if it so chooses, try to take the island of Taiwan by force.
Do we know anything about the relationship between Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin? I mean, do these two men have a close relationship? Do they like each other? Or is this just about sort of strategy and their own personal desires?
So on the one hand, who knows? On the other hand, you've got to imagine there's a lot of resentment between the both of them. Putin needs Xi, and that's a really uncomfortable position to be in when you think you're someone like Putin. And Xi probably looks quite dismissively towards Putin and quite enjoys that, but I can't imagine Putin feels very good about that.
But they have a limitless partnership, or whatever the phrase was.
Yeah, but it's such an interesting point because here you have, from all reporting, both CBS and otherwise, this notion that Vladimir Putin wants to reconstitute the Soviet Union, or he sees that era of the Soviet era as the greatest in Russia's history, and yet you're reliant on a country who, at the time that the Allied powers drew up the world map in 1945, China was still sort of not the player that it is today. And now, you see where I'm going here, right? Like, you're not anywhere near if you're relying on another partner who may be seen as more powerful than you.
Chairman Mao had so much resentment towards Stalin for being the big brother in the worldwide communism movement. So if Putin does actually want to do this, he would have to be the little brother to Xi Jinping, and that would be very satisfying to Xi.
Fascinating.
So, you know, China also sort of put forth this 12-point plan for peace. Is anyone taking that seriously?
Chinese media outlets do find it a very compelling
They
plan.
are definitely applauding it. Less the risk of ending up somewhere you don't want to be.
And that's it, I guess.
And some other very leftist news outlets around the world, but no one seriously.
This seems insincere.
Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, is trying to use this as, yes, we would love to have you involve China. Please meet with me to talk about it. Xi Jinping has so far resisted doing that. He can say, yes, I would like to meet with Zelensky, have a phone call with Zelensky, and that would prove a lot of what I'm saying wrong. That would show that, oh, okay, Beijing actually does want to stop this war. Until he does that, be very, very skeptical.
So at the end of the day, I mean, you said something interesting. You said that if the United States and its allies are enmeshed in this war happening in the West, that this might give China an opportunity to do what it intends to do with Taiwan, or what people believe it intends to do with Taiwan. Is that realistic? I mean, does China really want to risk a global war, not a regional war, over an issue of a territory that they believe belongs to them? I mean,
possibly, yes.
Really?
They do seem willing to risk World War III to take Taiwan. And what Beijing is trying to do is say, listen, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, these are two countries, we're not involved. China's invasion of Taiwan, well, no one recognizes Taiwan. 14 countries do. This is a domestic issue, so this should be seen as a regional conflict or a civil war as opposed to an actual global war. And what the US and Japan are really trying to do is say, no, Taiwan is de facto independent, and we will act militarily to defend Taiwan in the case of a Chinese invasion to hopefully deter Beijing from doing that.
It is so troubling. And I wonder, Isaac, should that happen, what does I mean, you've got the UN, the permanent members of the Security Council, of which China and Russia are members of. If what you're suggesting comes to pass, that old world order should technically be done and go away.
Yes. It's hard to imagine the UN playing a forceful role in World War III. The UN works outside of global wars. It doesn't work inside global wars. And so I think it would be a pretty irrelevant organization if China were to invade Taiwan and then the United States and Japan get involved in that war.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, disturbing. Isaac Stonefish, always great to have you for your analysis. Thank you very much.
Thank you.